One of the most terrifying things that I've ever done growing up is public speaking. Now, there's a lot that goes into the fear of public speaking and why people are afraid of stepping in front of, like this, the camera. Well, I've dove deep into the subject and I've understood and I've figured out why it is people fear being in front of the camera. Why people fear being in front of other people in a big arena or even a small arena. That's what we're going to talk about today. We need to overcome this fear because fear is a positive thing. So guys, let's dive into it. Join me. It's a very important topic and it's something that I think a lot of people could benefit from. Hey guys, Chavez here, and thank you so much for joining me today. It's a very, very important subject. It is something that I've talked about a lot with my clients, and it's something that I want to address here on my channel. On camera shyness, stage fright, hitting that record button does something to you mentally, and this is a subject that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. So we're going to start right off the bat with 3 key terms that I want to dive into. Number 1, limiting false belief. Number 2, getting rid of self-doubt. And 3, practice like you mean it. So let's dive into this, okay? What is false belief? False belief is an assumption that you build up in your mind of something that's going to play out, something that might happen. And this is something that gives you a mental block. It stops you from reaching your full potential, your full capacity, in delivering something that you know you can deliver. So what can cause self-doubt? Well, a couple of things. It could be bad experiences. It could also be negative feedback from someone that you actually admire or someone that you really didn't know was listening. All this negativity that's being thrown at you for something that you're passionate about, you're gonna start second guessing yourself. And the next time you step in front of that camera or step in front of a group of people, you're gonna self-doubt yourself. You're gonna think, oh, that person's gonna hate what I'm saying. Oh my God, this experience is gonna be exactly what happened to me before, but it's not because you're putting it in your own mind. How do you get rid of self-doubt? The only way to really get rid of something like this is to push forward, is to continue to experiment and explore what you can do, what you know you can do. So like this, let's say I'm very, very uncomfortable filming a YouTube video, right? I have no idea what to say, how I'm gonna act, and the best way to do that is to pop up your camera and just do it. Play, learn, and then once you have something that you feel is good, show someone that's close in your group, a very positive person in your group, wife, husband, friends, a good group of people that will give you positive feedback, and in turn, your brain is gonna realize, okay, half that stuff that I built up in my mind really isn't that bad. So practice like you mean it is gonna go with the next step that I'm gonna talk about, and that's the 5 P's of presentation. Now, if you've taken a public speaking course as a high school student or even as an adult, then you'll know these 5 P's, but one of them actually is a C, but that's beside the point. So the 5 P's are planning, preparation, consistency, and practice. Now these 5 P's easily applies to what we're talking about when it comes to on camera. It's the exact same thing that you would apply when you're, like I said, public speaking in front of an auditorium of people. When you're planning your message, what you're actually doing is ensuring that value is going to come across at what you're talking about. Now preparation is something that's very important. It could stem from things like how you dress, or you're going to prepare yourself for how you're going to record. What's your background going to be? How's your lighting? You got to prepare these things. Consistency. Once you start getting the confidence, the perfect confidence that I know you have, you're going to be constant in how you set things up and how you deliver your message, how you structure it, the formula of it. It's going to work. Consistency is a big thing. I mean, consistency is amazing. Think about it in movies. If a story or something that happens with a character in a movie isn't consistent, then what is the purpose of that character arc if it's not consistent? And of course, practice. If there is one word, if this was Pee-wee's Playhouse and the word of the day was gonna come up, it'd be practice. How did you think people got better in what they do? They didn't just wake up and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna teach a TED Talk today. I got this. Never done it before, but I got it. It takes time, it takes confidence. I mean, it took me a while to figure out my formula and how I do these videos, but the consistency, planning, preparation, all these things come into play, and after a while, it becomes second nature, honestly. Your ability to take over your fear, to conquer your fear, is easier than you think it is. Just because you had a bad experience, just because someone said something about you, about what you're talking about, doesn't mean that the next talks that you're going to do, the next webinars or whatever it is that you do are going to be positive. You're going to change someone's life whether you know it or not. Now, I've said this a lot. To me, fear is very positive because fear leads us down the road of opportunities. There could be something unbelievably amazing at the end of that path, but you are afraid to get there. You're afraid to walk down that path because of things that are in the way. That should be something that would pull you towards that path. If you're thinking about starting a brand new career or starting a YouTube channel, but fear is holding you back, then you know you're headed toward the right direction. You're headed towards the right path that you're supposed to be on. So how do you start with a positive mindset? What are the tips? What are the tricks? Well, let's talk about 4 key things. And the first one is, do not compare yourself to others. This is something that I have done in the past, and it is very damaging to you because your originality and your creativeness goes out the window because you're trying to emulate someone else. And the same thing goes for in front of the camera. You see amazing speakers. They do inspirational speeches that carry this amount, this positive weight, and you try to emulate that, and when it doesn't work, you get frustrated. That leads to self-doubt. You see the rabbit hole? So be you. Figure out your voice. Figure out how you are going to deliver that message because you are just as important and powerful as that person next door. The second point is you are the harshest critic. This is very, very true. Whenever I watch myself on film, I take it apart and I tear it to bits because, yet again, I am my own worst critic. And it's okay to be a perfectionist. It's okay to make sure that something's going to look good and sound good. But if you focus so much on the minute little details, you are going to miss the entire meaning behind why you are filming that video or why you're giving that presentation. So give yourself a little breathing room when you watch yourself, when you hear yourself. It's just let yourself relax and listen to the message. Make sure the message is good first. I mean, if you have like spinach in your teeth or something, that's completely different. Now this next one is a very important thing to remember, and I talked about it briefly. It's to surround yourself with supportive people. If you surround yourself with a negative group, a negative mindset, what's going to happen? It's going to rub off to you. Self-doubt, all that stuff is going to come at you. Negativity, fear is going to just pile on itself, and you are not going to get out of that rut that you're in. But if you're surrounded by positive people, a positive group, they are going to help elevate you in helping you to get where you want to be. I show my wife some of these videos and say, hey, what do you think? And she's very nice in how she tells me, you know, this works, this doesn't work, try this, and it's all positive. That's what you need. Show your husband, show your wife, show your best friend, show your brother or sister, if they're nice. Surrounding yourself in front of positive people goes a long way because positivity on positivity equals unbelievably amazing things that can happen. And the last one is very important as well. Take a break, guys. So you have all these things that you're working on, all these things that are building towards something bigger, and your brain is going like 1,000 miles an hour. Stop for a second. Go out and get a cup of coffee. It's okay to take a break. I don't really believe in working like 80 hours a week and only sleeping an hour. You know, take a break. You need to have a mental break from everything that you're doing. I mean, you're doing like mental workouts all the time when you're creating content for whatever it is that you're doing. Stop for a second, go out and work on your physical form. You know, go out and work out, lift some weights, run, rock climb. Take a break from what you're doing. When you take a break, if there's something that you're stuck at, if there's something that you're trying to write for a presentation, but you just can't think of the right words, what happens when you take a break and you revisit it in a few hours? Clear mindset, you're ready to go. And guys, don't limit yourself. Just because you had bad experiences doesn't mean you're not going to have good experiences and good reactions down the road. Trust yourself, be consistent, practice, 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 practice. After a while, you're going to realize this really isn't that bad, and you're going to see someone else that's struggling just as you were, and you can help them out. I mean, you never know. You could be the next person that gives an inspirational TED Talk. All you have to do is believe, embrace fear, and practice.